not to talk about what I have done, but it's more about how many times I have failed in my life and how much struggle I had in the past. But before I start my story, I will just show you a book. People talk a lot about self-help books so far. I brought a book today, and about 4 weeks ago, my best friend gave me this book. The title is Your One Word. Sorry to advertise the book. Right here in the back of the book, the writers say and questions and challenge yourself. If you use one single word to describe your whole life, the meaning of your life, the target of your life, what would that word be? And he continues, I'm sure.
Hello everyone. Today I'm here to not talking about what I have done. I will talk about how many I felt and how many I've check off in the past way. And before I say my story, I will to introduce with you book. And there is a lot of people talk a lot of the self-help of this book, and I told this today, and my best and 4 weeks ago, my best friend gave me this book, and the title of this book is Your One Word. Sorry, I advertised the book, and the writers of the book have a question. Just say if you use the single word to describe your whole life, the per the 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 purpose of your life, the target of your life, or the meaning of your life, and what which work will be.
Many of you here do not have the answer yet. Is it true? Yes. But
And he shows that don't have more many have answered yet.
Have come when I read that question about 4 weeks ago. 2 minutes later, I say, "Oh, I find mine." It came so easy. It came so instantly. And I started to prepare for my TED Talk today, and I looked at my whole life journey, 42 years of living on this earth, working as a teacher for nearly 20 years. And I started to look at everything I have gone through. And so that's what I'm going to share with you. I have my keyword here, but I'm not going to show you until the end. Keep that as a secret. And I want you to walk through stories in my life, and hopefully you find out why I came to realize the purpose of my life. I want to share with you.
And I read a 4 weeks ago, and 2 minutes later, I hit of my mind, and it's come up to easy, it's instantly. And when I started to repair my chapter today, I looked at my whole life, the journey, 43 years of living in this world, as a teacher, nearly 20 years, and I started to look at everything I have from truth, and what I'm going to share. I have my keyword, and this is the secret, and I want you to walk through the stories in my life, and you'll find out why I come to realize the purpose of my life, and that's I want to share with you.
So, story time, okay? I was born into a family of 6 children, 5 boys and 1 girl, in a very remote area in Vietnam province. In the 1970s, life was just so huge struggle for many people. And just raising up 6 children in a family was a huge struggle for my parents. Plus, my father used to work for the US Navy before 1975. And so life in the 70s was a little bit insecure at that time. And everybody in my village at that time, people stopped going to school. All of the kids would just stay at home and help with the farm. And so being born into that family, the first thing I experienced was actually I had a very carefree life. So much fun as a child in the field with the buffalo with our friends. But it's also the first moment in my life I started to experience the feeling of shameful, the feeling of being discriminated because you are poor. And I started to see tears from my mom's eyes every time she could experience the feeling of being looked down, not for her, but for her children.
And I was born in a family with 6 children, um, 5 boys and 1 girl in Vĩnh Long province, and it we live in the 1970s. Life with a hard struggle, and my father used to work for the US Navy for 1975, and he's a little bit secure insecure in that time, and everybody's in my family he's they stopped going to school and stay at home and help with the family, and being born into that family, and first thing I experienced actually I have a very carefree, very fun as a child in the field with a puppy love with our friend, and it's also the first moments in my life I started experience the feeling of a shameful, being of discriminated because you are poor, and I started to see the teeth from my mom's eyes, and and of and this of this feeling of look as your children, not your her.
And deep down, I started to realize what it means to try and to become successful right at that time. But my life at that time was so quiet until the age of 5. Something terrible happened to me. My parents sent me to school. I had long days just playing with my friends, and I enjoy more in the field rather than in the school. But I could not understand, in the middle of the village there, where everybody cared more about food and clothes.
Um, and I started to realize it means that I want to thrive and become successful, and at that time, it's the age of 5. Something terrible for me. Just my parents sent me to school, and I have a long time just playing with my friend and enjoy more in the field rather than the whole school. And I don't understand the middle in the valley. Everybody care more about food and clothes.
My father is very committed to education, and I cannot remember how many times he asked everybody in the family to sit down in the evening with the oil lamp in the middle in the 1970 and 1980. And he kept reminding us about what would happen if we decide to quit school. First thing we would do is to get everybody out of the family if we ever thought about not going to school. So he was very committed, and it's still a very secret to me now where the idea came from. Because everybody else, even in my family, going against education.
And my father is a very committed people in education, and I cannot remember how many times he's asked everybody in my family to sit down in the evenings and all life in the middle because this time is in 20 oh no 19 uh, 70s 1980s, and he he reminded us about what happened if you decide to was going, and the first thing we will get everybody out of the family if you have thought about not going to school. Yeah, and so he is very committed is and in and everyone in my family uh, not going against education.
So being in that situation and in that context, I learned the first lesson of being grateful to having such a caring and loving mom and a committed father in my life. But then, I know that I could not escape from education. I prefer, sometimes I feel jealous with other kids in my village because they have long days playing. I sacrifice half of my day at school, not enjoying, to be honest. Sorry, teachers. And then I become a teacher, right? Extremely.
Um, and so this is the first lesson in, in my life about grateful, and I and when I'm grateful to having caring and caring and loving of my mom and the community of my father, and um, but then that I could not escape from educations, and sometimes I feel jealous with other kids in my fellows because he have a long days playing, and I sacrifice half of my days at school and not enjoy, and I'm so sorry teachers. And then I become a teacher.
But my life went on to secondary school and then high school very quiet. The only thing I could do is to stay focused. I was very obedient at that time, just listening to my parents and the teachers all the time. I tried to study hard. Strangely, the best score I got in high school was 6.72. I could never be a good student in high school. Even I know that I have tried a lot. I was so bad.
And my life when I uh, go on to the secondary and in high school is very quiet, and because I I stayed the focus and were very obedient at that time, and I just listened to my parents and my teachers on the time, and I tried to study hard, and the best scores I got in the haikus was 7 point no, 6.72, and I think I could never be a good student in high schools, and I know that I have to try more a lot.
back in high school. But I did start to feel that I enjoy more school. And this is also the stage. At school, I started to experience what people call failure. At the end of year 12, I took the university entrance exam. I failed. First year. Interestingly, I didn't feel sad, not disappointed, but I began to see in the eyes of people who loved me and who wanted the best for my life, the look of disappointment and more expectation from me. So I felt sad for 2 days, packed my luggage, going back to Bangkok City, spending 1 year reviewing the lesson, taking the exam again the second year, and luckily I passed, becoming a student at university.
And um, I, s- I started to feel that I enjoyed more school, and this is the state. At school, I started to experience what people can feel. Yeah, at the end of the year 12, I took the university exchange exam, and I felt a first year, and interestingly, I didn't feel sad, not disappointed, but when I see the eyes of the people who love me and who wanted the best for me of my life, the um, the look of disappointed and more expectation from me, and I feel sad for 2 days, and after that I've had my glove and go back to Kansas City and spend 1 year to review the lesson and take the exam again in the second year, and I passed, and I become becoming uh, a student at the university.
But I hit the wall again right on the first day I stepped into the university. I was among 255 students at the university at that time, not understanding a word of English. And so, in the first month of the university, many times I have thought about quitting university, going back home. Life is easier as a farmer, right? But then I felt so lucky at that time to have one of my teachers at the university. He understood all of the psychological process of students at that time. He sat down patiently, explaining, encouraging, and supporting. So we overcame the problem thanks to that teacher. That's the second person that I felt so grateful to in my life.
And I really hate um and in the first day I stepped into the university, um I've at that time I really want to come back my home, and is this a partner, and um, I feel so lucky at that time have a teacher at university. He understood on the say psychological of the student about um, many problems, and he's set out patiently sled and encourage and supporting and have be overcome that problem. And that's the second person that I feel so grateful in my life.
And all I could do in my 4 years was to stay focused. I never considered myself to be an intelligent person, but I did work very hard through 4 years. No playing, no Facebook, no computer at that time, luckily. So after 4 years, rewards came. I graduated, top one in my class, out of 255 students. It was the biggest achievement ever in my life at that time. After that, I was granted with a position at the university to become a lecturer. Wow, you can fly. Though I felt so happy, but I could see the happiness more in my parents' eyes, the people who have trusted me, rather than for myself. So,
Um, and I spent for um, 4 years to say the focus. I never consider myself to be an intelligent person, but I just work very hard and through 4 years, no plays, no favor, no computer, um, and after 4 years, I graduated top one in my class out of 20 um, no, uh, 255 students, and this is the biggest achievement in my life. In my life at that time. And after that, I will pray for the positions of the university and I become a lecturer. And wow, I can fly, and I feel so happy, and I can see the happiness more from my parents and the people who trusted me and love me.
if you look around, you see a lot of successful people in life. My success at that time was nothing compared to others. But if I put into my position as somebody from a poor family, from a remote area, struggling through life to survive at the university, achieving such success at the beginning of your life is so extraordinary, so significant to me at that time. So my journey began here at this university the past 19.5 years. I began working here in 2001 as a teacher, as a lecturer. The first 5 years for me was amazing. I really enjoyed working. And
Um, and I see the loss of the cell phone in my life. And at that time, it's nothing compared with another people, but I compare with somebody who from a poor family and truly from like just fight at the university and achievement should um, begin in their life. And um, and my journeys began here at university in the past uh, um, 19.5 years, and I began working here in 2001, and I was amazing and I really enjoyed working.
a lot of enjoyment came, but then I hit the wall again, and this time it's even more serious. I have enough knowledge and skills that I learned in university to function well as a teacher. But then in life, it's so terrible. I look back at my life and I say, wait a minute, nowhere in your school and in your life has somebody taught you how to live a good life, how to stand up when you fall, how to behave well in society, how to be a good person, not to talk about how to become successful. I didn't have a clue. And as many times I fell, I hit my head bleeding, I couldn't find an answer at that time. So what I did, I observed the way people
and I I have more. I have the time. This is really terrible. Um, to see when I look back at my life and I realized that no one talked to me about how to live a good life, how to stand up when you fall, how to behave well in society, and how to become a good person, and not to talk about how to become successful. And I have a lot of time I felt, and I couldn't find answers in that time. But
when people around, how do they live? I started to pick up wrong ideas. I match on, become very competitive, try to work crazily, so to build up and compete for money, for material, for fame and position. And to some extent, I was successful. I got promoted to university. But at the same time, I began my business and started to try to build up my own school. I worked crazily for about 5 years. And I felt so amazed by the achievement I got during this time. But then in the year 2012,
and I saw how do they live, and I started with wrong ideas, and I become a very competitive person. I try to work crazily, so to be what I compete for money, for fame, for material, for positions, and I want to successful. And when I begin business and start to try building a school, I work crazy for about 5 years.
I began to hit the biggest wall in my life. I lost all sense of meaning about the reason for my existence in this life. I started to feel so tired and realized this is not the way you should lead your life. And I actually shared with nobody at that time because I put on myself the identity of somebody who is quite successful. And I didn't allow myself to claim or to complain and to reveal secrets about moments in your life that you feel so weak you want somebody to share. So, no solution actually.
And I lost our sense of meaning of my life, and I started to feel so tired, and this is not the way I should live of my life. I live my life, and I actually share with nobody at that time because I put on myself um, somebody who quite successfully, and I didn't allow myself to play or to complain uh, about the moment in your life, and I feel so great, and I want to somebody to share.
I decided to apply for the scholarship to go away, move away from my comfort zone. And the first 3 months in Australia for me was amazing. Remember the picture that she showed you? I felt like I escaped from the noisy life, the traffic, to somewhere very quiet, very peaceful, where I have time and energy to contemplate and to think carefully about my life. And looking back at the time that I have tried for power, success, money, and position, I would say I don't claim this time because it has trained me to become so strong, like a warrior. But when I look at that and I say, wow, these was the most terrible, the darkest time of my life. If I look at how I experienced it. But thankfully,
And I decided to apply for the scholarship to go away. Uh, uh, and the first 3 months in Australia, I felt amazing. I remember the pictures, and I feel like the noisy life into the traffic um, somewhere is really quiet and very peaceful, and when I have time and when I have more energy uh, to think carefully about my life, and looking back the time what I have tried to for the power, success, money, and positions, and I said I don't claim in this time because it has changed me to become so strong. And I look at that time and say that this is the most terrible, the dark time of my life, and uh, but thankful uh, that time have me have more experience.
only to experience to the people that I've met in my life back in Australia for 4 years. New ideas come, and the people I have met during this time have taught me so many lessons that I felt like I just been reborn one more time. That is the time when I actually begin to think more about the meaning of my life and why I'm here. I decided to come back to Vietnam after finishing.
And have more new idea come, and the people I have met in during time they taught me so many lessons, and that I feel like that when I will respond one more time in the world, and I am beginning to think more about the meaning of my life, and why I'm here. Um, and I decided to come back to Vietnam.
Things become so clear to me about what I want to do for my future. Now, when you started to see the light somewhere about how you are going to live your life, things become so easy. every single decision I make since then, back in the year 2015, becomes so easy to me because I do understand who I am. And every decision I make, I'm able to justify, to explain clearly to the people around me. And honestly sharing with you, in the past 5 years, I have made the biggest number of decisions in my life. I moved away from being someone who's more obedient to someone who can stand on my feet by myself. And a lot of the decisions I make so far seem to depart a little bit from the traditional values and what sometimes my parents want me to do. But now,
Mm, and I think more about what I want to do for my future. And when I started to see that somewhere and how the current live in your life and become so easy to live and uh, and because I just understand who I am and every decisions I make, I'm able to certify and explain clearly to the people around me. And when I sharing with you in the 5 years ago, I have made a big number of decisions in my life.
now, because I understand me more, and I realize there's a lot of things that I need to challenge. Not that I don't show the respect to them, but I started to question the meaning for myself. And secretly, in the past few years, that I realized that I have lived my life to the full. And I started to feel what is genuine happiness to people. So if you look back at my life journey, it's a snapshot into what I have been doing. You see deep down every step, every success that I have found, I started to realize that somebody laid the first step and bricks for you to step up. It can be your family members, your parents, it can be your teachers, it can be your friends. And if you observe enough,
And I understand me more and I realize and there are lots of things that I need to do, I need to challenge and I don't show the respect to them and I started to the questions of myself and they will realize that I have to live in my life and I started to feel um, very happy to the people and when you see deep down to every step every said um, you started to realize that somebody played the first step and put the step of and it can be your uh, family, your friend, your parents, your teachers, maybe.
you started to realize that you should not feel proud of yourself too much every time you achieve something in life because you're not alone. You have tried your best, of course. Then underlying every step of success there is somebody who's standing and support you. And the day I realized how grateful I should be to life, life has become so beautiful and fulfilling. And 2 years ago,
you're not alone. You have to try your best, and in every step of the set, there's somebody who is standing and supporting you. And the day I realized that how grateful I to be alive and become more and have life become more so beautiful, and I began a new habit, and in every day I learned to practice thinking about how grateful uh, uh, I click 2 minutes in the day to thinking something someone.
And since then, I learned to be more humble. I learned to be more responsible. I learned to care more for other people. I stopped complaining, and I enjoy almost every moment, everything I do in my life. And that is also the time when I started to realize the real happiness in your life actually doesn't come from the money, doesn't come from the material that you have. Simply, it doesn't come only about your inner peace with yourself, but it comes from the feeling of sharing and helping other people and seeing that they achieve things in their life. So, the words that I have come up
Mm, and I feel thankful for, and I learned to be more to humble, and I learned to be more responsible, and I learned to care more of another people, and I stop complain and enjoy every moment, everything in my life. And this is and I start to realize the real happiness, uh, and it's the real happiness doesn't come with the money or material or fame or something like this, and
for myself is the word devoted. And that would be the direction that I will continue to live my life in the future. You might have different understanding of what it means to be devoted, but the word that I want to say in Vietnamese is the word phụng sự. And that is only when you feel that it's your responsibility to help people and to make them better, to see the people around you find their happiness and success. That is when you find you really feel happy for yourself and that long-lasting happiness. So, for the people here out there, if you are still struggling to find a way for yourself,
you might have different understanding and of what mean of devoted, and what I want to say is Vietnamese. This is a phụng sự. Yeah, and when you feel that it's your responsibility to help people, to make them better, and see people around you uh, being happiness, sad, and that you find you uh, really feel happy.
you're hitting the walls like me in the past, I would kindly invite you to do this practice with me. Every day, learn to be grateful, and hopefully, you will see life so beautiful and meaningful to live. Thank you.
And I have a college advice to do. You can practice with me every day. You want to be grateful, and hopefully you will be see the life so beautiful and meaningful, and thank you